Mike Comtech here with another video. You saw the disassembly. Now it's time to do a little bit of modification on the internal cabinet LEDs. So one of the first things we have to find out is where do I get power for this, and then also I wanted to make sure it was switched power. So with the machine, let's see, we can turn the machine on, and I've got it set up in infrared mode right now. Anyway, I made my own ground connection. I scraped off a little bit of the protection here on the circuit board, the green coating here. Got a little piece of copper trace. I mean, this is ground from here. These big wide areas like this usually denote a common area on the circuit board. And then of course I've verified that and everything too as well. But expose a little copper here, and then put a little solder bead, because this would be a connection point for what I'm going to be doing for these couple of modifications. And then while the back is laying flat, the right side on the switch, that's the output voltage, the positive output voltage for the LEDs we're going to be doing. And the LEDs that I'll be doing here, I changed them out already, and I'll show you how I modified the little lamp holder to accept the new LED, which the ones that the 5mm I'm using is just a little bit taller. So if I probe these two connections, and I've got the switch on right now, so Zoltar is on. So he's on right now. So we're back on the negative connection here, and we're back onto the right side here, and then so we are running, get this back on here. So our output voltage is about 4.1 volts, and that's what runs this LED and this LED, and of course the two top LEDs up here, this one and this one. But what I want to do is show you here what we did, or what we're going to do with the switching on this. I really don't want to destroy the true functionality. I'd like to be able to keep the regular functionality of the machine, like the lights coming on while Zoltar talks, the lights go off when he quits speaking. Now they did that to definitely conserve battery, because you couldn't have this thing sitting here on battery and then with the internal lights on all the time, not unless you had it plugged in. But I'm going to make it to where we can do both. We're going to switch it for internal lighting continuously, so when you do have it plugged into the power supply, a 5-volt 2-amp power supply, it'll sit there and run. Now the real Zoltar, I think some of the models, they offer that where the lights are on. There's an internal light that shows inside the cabinet, and of course you have the two flickering lights on the back wall. Well, that's kind of where I'm going here with this. I'll show the lights. So I'm actually going to key him up a little bit here. I'm going to turn the light off so you can see better. This is what it'll do when it's on. Either Zoltar speaks and they'll turn off, or they'll all be on continuously, one of the two. But these are candle flickering LEDs, and actually all the circuitry for their functionality is all built right in the base of this LED. It's pretty amazing that they can put a small controller chip inside the LED itself, but that's like the multicolored flashing LEDs that have the little chip that cycles between red, green, and blue, and different colors too. This one's completed. This one's all put back together, the new LED, and then the globe has been reattached to the fixture, and then this one's getting ready to. And then I wanted to show you on the holder here, I had to take my Dremel tool and take away that piece of plastic that they had in there for the LED support. Like I said, my LEDs are just a little bit taller, So this LED will sit down farther, and then I was able to get the globe back on. And then when they do light up, let me shut my other lights off here. When they do light up, this is the effect you have. So that's what I was after. And then so I want to put back the other globe on, but it'll fit right back in here. But I'll see if I can't get I don't have my tripod yet. I really miss that, because I need to have something I can do that with. Because working with one hand sometimes doesn't become very very efficient doing stuff. I will go through the circuit that I drew up, the little how we're going to do this, and I can run through what we're going to do. These LEDs right here, these two are in parallel. So those are the two top LEDs in the front of Zoltar's cabinet that light up. And then these two are the two back wall LEDs that light up as well when he speaks. So so the X's will join to the X's, and what we're going to use, the magic switch here, is a 3-pole double throw with a center off position. So not only can you run, I'm going to have it set to where you throw the switch down, it's going to run in default mode on the lights. It'll run like it always did. And if I put the switch on the up position, you'll have continuous lighting inside the cabinet. So the flickering lights in the back, and I'll have 2 warm lights up here in the front. The warm white LEDs here shining down into the cabinet. And if you don't want lights at all, you can put the switch in the center and it will shut all the lights off. So this little diagram right here, I'll explain what's going on. The LEDs automatically are all joined by the anodes, and they all go to the positive feed on this system. They go to the positive battery. So that's already done. That's already been done. What we're going to do is these right here are the X's, or the X are going to be the yellow wires. So if you look here, you've got 3 sets. There's 1, 2, and 3. These 3 JST connectors, these 3 are what run the LEDs, the top LEDs and the 2 LEDs in the back. And I did verify, there's 3 100s here ohm resistors that are alike. These are probably the dropping resistors for these 3 outputs. So what I'm going to do is we'll take the yellow one. The yellow wires will be cut. One wire will go to the center pole, or I'm sorry, to the top pole. And these are the ones that will run to the back to the PCB. So this yellow wire coming back to the PCB will actually be hooked up to the top 3 rows of the switch, because you're going to be looking at that switch from bottom down when you're wiring that. So those poles the connections are set up the same way on that switch as they are right here, is the way I drew them. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then of course they switch between this position, rotate, switch between this position, and it has a center position off. So the schematic right here now is drawn with center off. So these 3 right here are the 3 yellow wires that go back to the circuit board, and then these are going to be the yellow wires that come from the LED side. So you'll have, because when you cut this, you're going to have 2 yellow wires, of course. So the one coming from here goes to those top terminals, and then the one that runs actually up to the LED goes back to the centers. Makes no difference which one you pick here, as long as the ones on the top go back to the PCB, and the ones here are your LEDs get put back to the center poles. So in order to do that, we're going to have to supply our own dropping resistors, because if I just supply those LEDs with 4.1 volts, they're not going to like that very well. They're not going to last very long, for one. So I calculated 100 ohm resistors for each one at that voltage I've got, and for the LEDs that I'm using. And I'll show those right here. This is what we're using. 5mm clear round yellow flickering candle lights. And these are available on Amazon as well. And then we're going to put the 3 resistors, one into the resistor, gets on one terminal of the switch, the center pole, the outer pole. Then we're going to join all 3 ends of the resistors, and then this connection will go back to our ground on the printed circuit board, and that's this connection that I made right here. It's going to go back to ground. So when this main switch is off, nothing works. When the main switch right here is on, then however you have this switch positioned, whether they go continuous or go back to the way they were, or if you put it in the center, they won't light at all. So that's a little circuit I drew up there, but the magic happens right here at the switch, because we have to have 3 poles, because first of all, we have to lift these connections when you supply voltage back, otherwise you're going to be putting voltage back into that board. And we always have a little rule in the modding community: we try to tune for minimal smoke, and that's because that just keeps the failure rate down to a very minimum, or hopefully in this case none. But I've already proven all this, and it does work. So anyway, that's the this is mod video number 1 on the cabinet LEDs. So that's where we're at. So like I said, 4 volts here for the output, and the 2 connection points that we're going to use is the one ground and the one right here on the right hand of the switch, because when I hit the switch, off it goes, and then that's it. That's all you see. And then that's basically residual voltage draining out of probably this electrolytic capacitor right here. But that'll get down to hardly anything. And even with the battery disconnected, my meter still wants to show a little bit of residual volts coming out of it. But that's, like I said, that could be a little bit of this capacitor here. But anyway, this is that. So we're going to finish putting that one back together, tucking this in here. It's not hard to do. And of course, that LED, I had to cut the leads to the proper length. And I can't, all you can do is, if you look at the original LED here, they put those in need a little pliers so I can show you the length of what they used. Of course, here's the differences in the 2 LEDs. The one on the left is the one that they used, that New Wave Toys used, and the one on the right is the new flicker candle LED. So you can see here that the lead length has to be about the same. And then once we took this down with my Dremel tool, that inner cord, took it down with my Dremel tool, then this LED sits nice and snug down in there. And then now the globe goes all the way down to this position right here. It mates with the where it should be right there. So anyway, so the next video I think I'll do will be on the ticket mechanism. I've got something kind of uniquely worked out for that. So all I can say is stay tuned. There's lots more stuff coming. Thank you. Talk to you later.